happening, and he followed these people in, and he didn't realize that they were breaking federal law. Well, a video has surfaced that doesn't take a lot of investigating to find, because it's the beginning of Don Lemon's own stream that he was doing. He chronicled his entire day with the anarchist in Minneapolis, and he began his video with this clip I'm going to show you right now. And it's him at the staging area with all of these people that he claimed to have nothing to do with or no knowledge of. He just saw them walking towards the church and said, oh, this looks like it might be news happening. I'm going to go in. And then here we have him in the staging area. He saw the American flag. He just assumed they were MAGA, but they're not. They're liberal anarchist. See, now notice here. So he has prior knowledge to the events. This is very important for what's coming up next, guys. So not only does he have prior knowledge, he's keeping it secret. It's classified information. He can't tell you. It's a secret. Yeah, I can't tell you where they're going, but he knows, and he's in on it. Oh my goodness. So what's happened here is he's in some big trouble because the Department of Justice is involved. Look at this. The Department of Justice to charge Don Lemon under the KKK Act for inciting this church raid, because he's right there, and it looks as if quite possibly they did it to show off to him and his cameras. Here he is talking to one of the anarchists. Thank you for your service. See, this is Mr. Journal. I'm just a journalist doing some journalistic work, just reporting. He's talking to these guys like they're the Marines just back from the Venezuela raid. This is hard to believe it's real, isn't it? I mean, when you watch this, here's the poor pastor up there. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. You know, I mean, have you? I've never seen anything like this before. Very, very surreal. You imagine what it's like. You're in church. You know, if they pulled this in Florida or Texas, God only knows what would have happened, right? And this is in Minneapolis. It was not that many months ago. The first time we saw that, at least me, the first time I was familiar with this lunatic mayor in Minneapolis, Fry, is after they had a church shooting just a couple of short months ago. Remember those children that were murdered in a church praying? So, you know, in a town that had a tragic church shooting just a couple months ago, to bust in like this, it's got to be terrifying for the families, the children, and my goodness, the parents must just be like, what's going on here? And shielding their children because they don't know what's coming. What do you do to stand for your Latino and Somali communities? You know what they're doing, with this church. I know, doesn't it look like it's out of a movie, doesn't it? They're just going after people and attacking people who are white. You've heard of white guilt. It's if you're white, you're guilty and have some debt that you owe to Latino and Somali people. Listen, the Somalis, they got $19 billion with a B. It seems like if anybody could do some help, it's the Somalis with their $19 billion in stolen federal funds from all the clearing centers and everything. My goodness. And, and the other thing about this church attack is these are locals in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. So they're probably Democrats, or at least they were Democrats. That's a real question. What's crazy is this guy, when he asked that question, he's serious as a heart attack. This guy is this guy an insane anarchist, or is he one of these paid protesters? There's no way this guy could really be this crazy Eddie routine he's got going on here. A little mix between that and Sam Kinison. Remember Sam Kinison? This guy is on the payroll. He's a professional doing what it is that he's doing. And look at this attitude, as if you're white, you're obligated to go and help these fraudsters. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So here he is at the beginning. No. Now, this guy here, I would say this guy is probably one of the fake protesters. I mean, and you've seen some of the video. This one in particular, this still photograph, this father holding his son who's just absolutely terrified. A lot of trauma in a community that just had a mass shooting inside a church. So Harmon Dillon was on with Benny Johnson today, and of course she's with the Justice Department. Yeah, remember they were the Biden administration. They were arresting people in front of abortion clinics who were just praying. They were just praying on public sidewalks in front of abortion clinics. That's it. And there was one, remember, there was a grandmother that they picked up and locked her up in jail. Remember all of that? Or what about the Department of Homeland Security that was writing down the license plates and school board parking lots in Northern Virginia? Remember all of that? They used all these old civil rights era things, this FACE Act, this KKK Act, and other things against people who were just praying or trying to make sure that their kids weren't assaulted in the bathroom. And now, well, it's chickens coming home to roost. Wow. Mm-hmm. That's true. Wow. That's right. Committee. Okay. It really looks like Pam Bondi is just a figurehead attorney general at this point, right? She hasn't done much of anything that we've wanted her to do. She hasn't arrested anyone, and we're seeing all these new people like Dylan here, and she's doing. They've got this new deputy attorney general that's looking into the fraud in Minneapolis that JD Vance had talked about. It's like President Trump doesn't want to fire her during the for the I guess maybe I don't know why he doesn't want her on TV trashing him for the next year during I don't know, but it looks as if she's a figurehead and she's been completely bypassed. But could you imagine if Don Lemon is brought up on charges under the Klan Act, the KKK Act? Oh, that would be beautiful. And he's such a sick, twisted person that he really doesn't understand what he's going through. And I'm going to play just a quick one here of Dylan still, because she added one thing with Benny. Mm-hmm. See, I mean, she's not messing around. She's not a Pam Bondi. It doesn't seem to me that just sits around and talks and makes idle threats. She is as serious as a heart attack about bringing these people to justice. And I'm very happy with the idea that Pam Bondi is a figurehead who's been benched, and these under secretaries and deputy attorney generals and such are going to do the work. I'm very happy with that. We need to start seeing people arrested. So Don Lemon, who is such a sick, twisted narcissist, he's very excited about all this because everyone's talking about him. And because everyone's talking about him, he's on top of the world. That's a drug to Don Lemon, and he feels that he has immunity from prosecution because he's Don Lemon. Don't you know who I am? I'm Don Lemon. But nothing could be further from the truth. He is in big trouble. There's been a major reset with this administration. President Trump he's done with these people. He's done with these people. He's not playing around. Greenland is going to be part of the United States, and Don Lemon looks like he's going to get arrested. But Don Lemon, in his arrogance, he went on this, what is her name, this liberal Jennifer Welch podcast today, and you can see the smile in his face. He's not taking this as a serious thing at all. He's on top of the world. Oh my goodness, he's like Joy Reid. What does he think? OJ's playing the race card here. The race card's been overplayed. It's not going to go anywhere. Everything with Don Lemon is white supremacy. Everything. Now, these were just people with their families in church on Sunday, okay? And then you and your crew busted in. Oh my goodness. Oh, really? So what were the other religions that the colonists were practicing, right? Other than Christianity. It was freedom to not have to be a part of the Church of England. They were all Christians, the Pilgrims. They were all Christians, but different denominations. And in England, there was only one church, the Church of England. That's it. It wasn't that they didn't come over here for religious freedom for Muslims or these other religions around the world. It was just, they were all Christians. It just was really a debate over which denomination or if they were Protestant or Catholic. It's an intimidation tactic. They were just in church service on Sunday when Don Lemon and his mob broke in, busted in, and disrupted everything. When you're in a house of worship, it's like you're in your own house, right? You don't expect lunatic activists to bust down the doors and start chanting about Renee Good and start barking at you. What are you doing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters? Why aren't you on Wimple Street? He's making himself the victim. Oh, he's the biggest name there. Well, excuse me. He's the big celebrity on campus. What a what an arrogant, self-centered person, huh? I'm the biggest name there. I'm the A-list celebrity there. Really? I don't know. Nick Shirley, more people. Do you know that in the when Nick Shirley dropped his original story at the Leering Center, do you know that more people saw Nick Shirley's report than watched Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin set foot on the moon the first time? Did you know that? Yeah, I couldn't believe it. By far. So who's more famous? Don Lemon or Nick Shirley? I'd say Nick Shirley. What does that, who cares that you're gay, black, or a man? You know, I mean, he's playing playing the race card, the uh, the sexuality card, the gay card. He's playing all the cards. He's got all the cards. He's got all the cards playing. But you know what? None of them are going to work. You know what it is with Don Lemon is this. Okay, he is, since he's not on CNN anymore. He's trying to make a big thing for himself online, and it just hasn't worked out well for him. When he was fired by CNN, they paid him $10 million in a severance package. I think most of us would, at least I would semi-retire. I'd still be here on YouTube, but this is my fourth video today. I'd probably just do one video a day instead of like 3 or 4 or sometimes 6. So I'd be like semi-retired with one video a day on YouTube. But Don Lemon is trying to get back his former reach of the lowly rated CNN. Okay, so I'd like to know how much of that $10 million he's burned through on his failed internet show, right? Because he's talking about having producers and everything else. A lot of these people that come from television and movies that start doing podcasts, like him, Megyn Kelly. I saw one of the guys from Modern Family. I saw has a podcast where he interviews people in restaurants, and it's a podcast. They run these podcasts like you would run a television production. They've got camera crew, they've got producers, they've got writers, they got all this stuff. Nick Shirley, he's got a couple bodyguards and a handheld camera and a mic like the one I got clipped onto my shirt. And he's out there having more people watching him than watch Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin set foot on the moon. Okay? And Don Lemon's walking around. I would not be surprised, plus his lifestyle, if he's burned through maybe almost all of that $10 million that CNN gave him when they fired him. Would you be surprised? No, because he's a narcissist and he's desperate for the attention. And he just can't let things go because he wants the attention. Oh, let me go through this ad here on this video. I hate when I go to play a video and I got to go through the first 5 seconds before I can skip ahead. Hold on here. Okay. So this is Don Lemon at the church, and he's being reprimanded by a guy inside the church. You may have seen a little bit of this. Let me pull this up. Here we go. That's right. That's right. Okay, now here come the lunatics walking by. Is this the woman who led the whole process thing? You know, Don Lemon is comparing busting into this church service to, these ICE officers have warrants with people's names on them. They're not going to random houses and hoping to find illegals in them. They have warrants that have been given out by judges, immigration judges, to arrest fugitives from immigration justice. They're not busting into private homes without due process, as they're trying to present to you. Shameless. Oh my goodness. You look at what Don Lemon here is, and when he's talking to this guy, you could see the smile in his voice. He's so happy. He's so proud of himself for being a part of this. If you'd like to call in, please do. The number's toll free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to take a break, and when we come back, I got a lot more to share. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. This is the Brian Craig Show. Thanks for joining. And this is where MAGA comes to talk. Now, this is my Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you should. Brian Craig Show on Instagram. And if you go to my Instagram, my wife is my social media manager, Kathy. My wife, Kathy, manages my Instagram. You can see she has a lot up here. It's Brian Craig Show on Instagram, Brian Craig Show on Instagram, and there's a lot of things up here that she adds all of the time, including this. Mm-hmm. Mm. Wow. 1 out of 5. 80% lost. That's right. Well, that's all that counts because only Republicans vote Republican, right? That's me. Awesome. Yeah, there you go. All right. So make sure you follow me on Instagram at Brian Craig Show. Oh, man, Donald Trump, he's just as popular as he was 2 years ago. I mean, it's amazing. He hasn't lost any support whatsoever. All right, if you'd like to call in, the number's pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Afternoon, Brian. Stop for 9 out of California.
Yeah, what's
up?
Thank
you so much for taking my call. I'm going to make this as short as I can and not be too emotional about this because it was very, very, very upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
I think the individuals in that court should not only be prosecuted under like federal charges. I think every single member of that church that was present at that day, and actually any member of that congregation, should actually sue every single person that ended up violating their law for the harassment and the fear that they ended up invoking in these people. I would definitely end up punitively going after these people so that the point can be made that if you decide to go ahead and do acts like these, you're going to be not only criminally charged, but you're going to end up being punitively charged. And you can't go and you cannot go and get a GoFundMe going if you are actually convicted of a crime, because there's laws in regards to that.
Well, I will say this about, you make some good points. All right, hey, listen, appreciate the call. You know, I will say one positive thing about these people that burst into the church with Don Lemon. Most of them did not wear masks, which makes it easier to identify them, right, for the Justice Department. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Rosie calling from Tampa.
Hey, what's up, Tampa?
Hey, we're just looking at everything. I am really hoping Harmeet that one comes through. We need the DOJ to really stand up before this happens to other churches coming up this next Sunday.
Absolutely. I hope so too. I hope so too. And
yeah,
I was talking at the beginning of the stream here. You know, they just had that church shooting where those children were murdered just a few short months ago in Minneapolis. And Fry was there, and to bust into a church in that community, so after something like that's got to be really scary.
Can you imagine? I saw the children, I saw everybody. There were people actually hugging and praying together. The look on their face, because they didn't know. Anyone who hasn't been paying to the activists, I've been watching on left stream, their alt news. They're threatening, bringing 2A stuff with them. So it's really real, and I'm really curious, that fear that they had yesterday. And obviously the news isn't going to cover that, but we know that must have been a horrible position.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Scary stuff. All right, Tampa, appreciate the call.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
All right, take care. Now, on another note, Denmark is one of the most evil countries in the world today, at least in Western civilization. And some pretty bad things have been coming out. I played one this morning. Let me pull this up, and then we've got an update on it. They're in some real serious trouble in Denmark because, Denmark has kind of been an under-the-radar kind of country, right? It's a little tiny country. People don't pay too much attention to Denmark. And now that President Trump is going to take Greenland because he needs it for the Golden Dome, the missile shield protecting North America, and they're challenging us on it, things are starting to come out about Denmark. And Scott Bessett dropped something, and then people have been looking into this, and we're getting more and more information. So let me pull this up. Hold on, I got to go through the ad again. Oh, isn't that lovely? I've got to go through 2 commercials. Okay, so now listen to this. This is Scott Bessett, the Treasury Secretary. And then we have some updates. Listen. Okay, so he just dropped that there were 4 sterilizations, which I had not heard of this before. And people are starting to look into this. And let me pull this up. There's a big article in the Gateway Pundit right now. I posted this on my X at Brian Craig Show. Native Greenlanders reveal horrors under Danish rule, including years of forced sterilization and removal of children. Speaking to reporters, President Trump underscored the strategic urgency of Greenland's location and the militarizing of the Arctic. And he went on to say, I will say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. It's so strategic. This is the president's comments. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. Denmark is not going to be able to do it. I can tell you that. Well, look at this. In an exclusive report, the New York Post spoke with native Greenlanders about some of the disturbing abuse under Danish rule, including hundreds of Greenlandic women and girls who were forcibly given contraception between 1960 and 1991. Between 1966 and 1970, just in those 4 years, over 4,500 women and girls, some as young as 12 years old, had intrauterine devices implanted, those IUDs. But the 4,500 was just during those 4 years. Between 1960 and 1991, many thousands, over 10,000 women and girls were victimized of the Kingdom of Denmark. I mean, this is Nazi-like stuff. The 1951 Little Danes, these are the kind of things that Denmark doesn't want people to know about. Now people are looking at Denmark. The 1951 Little Danes experience removed Inuit children. Inuit are Eskimos or Inuit Indians. The natives of Greenland are Inuits like the Alaskans. The 1951 Little Danes experience removed Inuit children from the country and sent them to live with Danish foster families for re-education and controversial parental competency test. This is, what happened? Did all the Nazis, when they escaped, go to Denmark? Which resulted in the forced separation of Greenlandic families. The New York Post writes, Amarok Peterson was 27 years old when she learned the gut-wrenching truth about why she couldn't have children, and that Denmark was to blame. Suffering from severe uterine problems, a medical doctor discovered an IUD birth control device in her body that she didn't know she had. Danish doctors had implanted it when she was just 13 years old as part of a population control program for thousands of native Greenlandic girls and women. So, and I thought when Greenland first got on the radar at the beginning of President Trump's second term, and I saw there were only 50,000 or so people in all of Greenland. How could the population be so small? And that's because these Nazi Kingdom of Denmark Danish lunatic creatures had been involved in all kinds of population control going on in Greenland so they could continue to rip off Greenland's natural resources, take it back to Denmark, and keep the population of Greenland small and controllable for their pathetic, tiny little country. Following a 2-year investigation, independent researchers have released a report on the forced sterilization. Denmark's prime minister issued an apology to Greenland. And in August, oh, well, that'll take care of it. Oh, we're sorry. Oh, okay. In an August 2025 written statement, the prime minister says, "We cannot change what has happened, but we can take responsibility. Therefore, on behalf of Denmark, I would like to say I apologize." She also acknowledged the case had caused anger and sadness for many Greenlanders and many families, and damaged perceptions of Denmark. Even without the full picture, pending an ongoing investigation, it made a serious impression that so many women reported abuse by the Danish healthcare system. And they had some ceremony and gave them a few $1,000s each for the survivors. But Denmark is an evil, evil country. And what they've done for the last half a millennia, right, because it's been 500 years, what they've done for the last 5 centuries to the people of Greenland is Holocaust-like, right? They've kept the population as small as possible so their tiny little country could control it. They could continue to rip off the country. All these things that the left constantly say that we're responsible for with the Native American Indians and everything over this Trail of Tears and all those things. And a lot of that was terrible. But it's still going on today in Greenland, committed by Denmark. And the Democrats are, for whatever sick, twisted, bizarro reasons, are just, I guess it's the Trump derangement is probably what most of it is, but they are hardcore on the side of the Kingdom of Denmark, has been committing a 500-year-long population control program, sterilizing girls as young as 12 and women to control. I mean, and this is a small minority group, the Inuits. You liberals, the Trump derangement syndrome, you start to lose control. Now, this guy here, he's a very smart guy. His name is Damon Amani, and you can find him and his ex on my ex, Brian Craig Show, because I shared this. He did a very good piece here, which I want to share with you. He did a historical little piece about the history of the United States wanting to acquire Greenland over the centuries. Ireland. Wow. Yeah, that's right. Very smart guy, this guy. So follow him. It's on my X and Brian Craig Show, and you'll see him there. I posted this today, and follow him. Very smart. And, this god-awful population control Holocaust. I mean, how many native Inuit Greenlanders have never been born because of the forced sterilization? Well, I don't know. But I do know this, that Denmark has a very long, dark, sick, twisted, evil history of abuse over Greenland. And what I've shared with you today was started by the Treasury Secretary on Meet the Press yesterday about the forced sterilization, going all the way up to 1991. And this article that I just went over for you, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And the reason this stuff is coming out and making it into the press is not by accident. The Trump administration are releasing this information. And they're warning Denmark that if they don't play ball and sell us Denmark or just give it to us, that the whole sick, twisted, Nazi-like, Goebbels-like, Mengele-like history of Denmark and what they've done to the people of Greenland and God knows where else is going to become common knowledge. And their little tourist trap of a country, people aren't going to want to go there anymore. And they're going to find themselves in a pretty bad situation. This is just a little warning to Denmark. And we'll see, because all these stories are just starting to drop today, and as they, I was shocked to hear this, weren't you? I've never heard anything like this. Well, no one really paid attention to Greenland before. We knew it was there, but we never paid attention to it. Or certainly Denmark. It's an insignificant country, but now we're finding out why they were neutral when the Nazis were overtaking Europe.
But I don't like yelling across the room,
No, nice mouth. Is that how you talk to your friends? Oh, my goodness. I interrupted a conversation and that what was going on. Can you imagine? If you're on hold, hang in there. I want to tell you, it is tax season. No matter where you're located in the United States, you want to make sure you get the largest deduction that you are entitled to. With the big, beautiful bill of Donald Trump's, the entire tax code has changed. The Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, he said people are going to get the largest tax returns they have ever gotten in their life. That's right. Jamie Levac at Swift Tax. He's located right here in South Florida, but he can help you with your taxes no matter where you are in the United States. And not just your federal taxes, your state income taxes, your local taxes, your business taxes, your payroll taxes. Anything that involves taxes, he can take care of it for you. And with Jamie Levac, you can get your return in as little as 24 hours, and he knows the big, beautiful bill and the new tax code inside and out. So he'll make sure that you get all the deductions that you are entitled to under the big, beautiful bill, and that you get the largest deduction you're entitled to. We even have listeners, one of them you hear in a commercial, that had accountants that they were not happy with. They thought in past years that they paid money that was too much. Jamie Levac from Swift Tax went back at their past tax returns, and guess what? He opened up their old tax returns. Now they're getting a return. Their old accountant said, hey, you owe money. So they sent money in. Now they're getting a return. They're getting all that money back and more. Call Jamie Levac at Swift Tax. You can call or text. This number rings directly to Jamie Levac, 954-773-1587. 954-773-1587. That's 954-773-1587 for Jamie Levac at Swift Tax. All right, yeah, so Denmark is in some big trouble, and I'm really excited to see how this goes. I didn't realize, and the president told us this, that Greenland is necessary for the missile shield, the Golden Dome that he's building. So it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when and how, and what Denmark is going to look like. Are they going to be a partner, or are they going to be a nation that's isolated and shamed because they are modern-day Nazis, just based on this one story that we heard about the forced sterilization that's been going on for, half a century was going on there. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
I did not know about the forced sterilizations.
No one did.
No one did, yeah, and that's the deal. And look, if you know the history of the eugenics movement here in America, that's where we were headed at one point. You know, that's
Well,
a bad deal.
what they were doing as recently as the early 90s is what the Nazis were doing in the 30s.
Absolutely, and where the Nazis get their ideas from, they got them from people like Margaret Sanger.
Or Denmark. I don't know, Denmark. You know, the Nazis originally, they were talking about sterilizing Jews before they started exterminating them. So, you know, and Denmark, we know Denmark has admitted that they did this. By the way, thanks for the call, Mike. They admitted that this was true. Apologized and gave them a few $1,000s each. Oh, geez, thanks so much. Continue to steal our gold and other natural resources from our beautiful Greenland. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian, am I coming in okay?
You are coming in loud and clear.
IB. You know, this makes me think. I didn't have enough time to yap all morning. The Hills Have Eyes, the movie The Hills Have Eyes, where the American military used before they created, I believe, the atomic bomb, and they practiced on people with the anyway, the Tuskegee Airmen. When you this is the second time you said this. No,
you don't. You got the Tuskegee Airmen mixed up with the Tuskegee experiment. The Tuskegee experiments was the syphilis where they. The Tuskegee Airmen were the heroes of the Second World War. And the Air Force.
Yeah, the Red Tails. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to degradate the Red Tails.
Yes,
My bad. The Red Tails, of course.
Yes.
All right. But what I'm hearing is appalling. The Hills Have Eyes, and those experiments they did, and to know that Denmark has done this is like some dungeon crap.
Isn't it? It's medieval. Well, Denmark was around in medieval times. You know, when World War II broke out, and Hitler was on the move, Denmark declared neutrality. Now, the Nazis came in later, but they didn't even take a position. And I mean, everything that Denmark is in the modern era is what the left tell you they're against, right? They're racist. They're sterilizing minorities for population control. They're taking control over these women and young girls as young as 12's bodies. They've got a king. Everything about Denmark is what the left tells us they're against, but they're siding with them because of the Trump derangement.
This is every box except for transgender, if we don't know.
Yeah.
This is every box checked from the Democrats in the evil they have done. To know that they have sterilized those people to keep that population down.
And they were doing it when Clinton was president. So this isn't something that was 150 years ago before anybody was alive. This was going on during the Clinton era.
Hence the creation of Margaret Sanger. And they did it to us black people here in America.
Yes.
That is insanity. And I didn't have a chance to say that this morning, but that's all I wanted to say, that if you Americans, you Democrats, pay attention, that they actually kept people under control by
this thing with the forced sterilizations and everything with the Greenlanders, the Inuit Indians, you know, a couple things about it. We know it's a fact because the government of Denmark admits it, right? They admitted it. Okay. Number two, we know that it was successful. There's sicko, twisted plans of population control because there's only 50,000 native Greenlanders today on this huge land, right? I mean, and we know they did it so that they could rip off Greenland's resources and not have to worry about controlling a population of natives. They're evil.
Hey, America. How long has Greenland been in existence and their population doesn't grow on their own accord?
Oh, you think they may do it at home too? Yeah.
Who kept that tamed? I have no more to say.
Okay, well, if you have no more to say, then it's time to say goodbye to you. I like a caller that knows when they're out of material. Okay, and I love how President Trump has dropped this out there. He's got this whole thing going about their forced sterilization, Greenland or Denmark on the native Greenlanders, to let Denmark know, don't mess around with us. Just give us Greenland, okay? And it'll go much easier for you. Now, this is a complete Trump derangement suffering lunatic. I'm not going to explain this, okay? It's self-explanatory. Listen to what this Trump derangement syndrome suffering woman has to say. Her boss supports Trump and refuses to back down on it, so she confronted the owner of her company, and she refused to back down on her support of Trump. She's going to document and record quitting her job. I can't wait. Can't wait to see that. She's got to be on the right side of history. So she's going to quit her job and start an OnlyFans, or is she advertising for a sugar daddy? I'm not exactly sure. But I hope she documents when she quits her job with her Trump-supporting boss, because that's something that I got to see. Okay, so this KKK Act, we got an update on this, that Don Lemon is, it's the FACE Act, the KKK law that Don Lemon is being accused of violating by the Trump Justice Department. Here's the latest from Fox News on it. Oh, by the way, this is Will Cain from Fox News. I love Will Cain. He's very good. Now Todd Blanche is who's talking here. Remember, he was Trump's attorney in New York? Mm-hmm. Wow, and you know, Todd Blanche here is the Deputy Attorney General, and does it look like he may be like the real Attorney General? We're hearing from all these people and seeing a lot of action, but not from Pam Bondi. Oh, Don Lemon. Here we go. Wow, they're not messing around. Yeah, you can't, go in with the bank robbers when they rob the bank and say, well, I'm in the press, so it's okay for me to go in there with these bank robbers. And then we got some big news here that dropped. This dropped today about Don Lemon. This is on the Charlie Kirk show today. So, wow. So the Department of Justice has in its possession Don Lemon's camera footage. And, all of this, Pam Bondi looks to be completely out of the loop. And this is all happening, I believe, at the direction of the president. The president is directing all of this to happen. You know why I say that? Is one, it's happening, as opposed to Pam Bondi, who's just talking. And it's happening fast. Today is Martin Luther King Day. It's a federal holiday. It's a 3-day weekend if you're in the government, right? Kids out of school, banks are closed, government shut down, But even on a federal holiday, the entire Department of Justice and senior people there have been mobilizing and working hard to bring Don Lemon to justice. So that tells me that the president is personally involved in this. And now I got another, the breaking news on this Don Lemon story is happening faster than I could share it. This is Glenn Beck, and his guest is Harmit Dillon, who I played a clip of her earlier. Remember, she's the Department of Justice Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. And here's Harmit Dillon talking to Glenn Beck today. Listen to this. Wow. So things are really happening. I have never seen the federal government move as fast as they're moving on something like this ever. Have you? Especially on a major holiday weekend like we're in now. And also, this came out today. The Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has announced over 10,000 illegals have been arrested in the state of Minnesota during this ICE movement there. Over 10,000 illegals have been arrested. How can you not think that's a good thing, huh? Absolutely, it's a good thing. If you're new to the program, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe if you're new to my channel. I'm always live every day, taking live calls when I'm in the studio here. And if you guys could take the link to the program and share on all your social media and invite your friends and followers to check the show out, that'd be great. You can join the Brian Craig Show marketing team. All you got to do is take the link to the program here on YouTube and share it on your socials and invite your friends and followers to check me out. And I'd appreciate that. Thanks so much. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I will talk to you next time. Thanks for tuning in.